Hey, how's it going, everybody? All right, I'm back. It's been a while. Had to take a break from streaming for a little bit, but now I'm back, and as you can see below, recently I was recognized as a AWS community builder. And for sharing all the content around AWS and cloud technology is super exciting, and I'm like totally shocked and really happy to be part of it. um, it's pretty awesome. Like there's like a Slack channel that you can sort of bounce things off people and other like experts in AWS and stuff. So it's really interesting program, and super happy to be part of it. And it really like motivated me to get back into streaming and sharing content and around things that I've been working on and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of like the start of like what I want to sort of um, like a foundation for what I want to start building into. So today I'm starting with building like this development environment that I can use across multiple different devices, like this laptop that I'm using now, my iPad, or just even another device. But the goal is really only to have a only to have an internet connection and a browser, and that's it. And that was kind of my criteria for like how I wanted to build this. Um, so I started like looking around, and I had played in previous streams. I've used like Cloud9 from AWS, which is a great tool. It's just a cloud IDE. Um, but I think I was looking for something more of like more all encompassing, like. So, anyways, so I found GitHub, right, and I've been using GitHub for a really long time, and came across like some of the new features that they've started to implement and into the platform. And it's not just a place to host your code anymore. It's actually become, something much more than that. And they're really going for, this all-in-one type of like platform. So we'll go through that today, but it's not just like hosting code. We're now able to like incorporate CI/CD and like a container registry. Um, and then they have their own version of like Cloud9 in AWS, but it's called Codespaces. So we'll go through that today, and I'll show you how I think my development environment is going to be going forward. Just because, like I said, I like that portability of accessing my dev environment from wherever I'm at, not necessarily from this laptop. But yeah, another change is that I've moved my blog site. So I don't. I decided to join Hashnode. They're like a blogging website, so it's just blog.blakegreen. Oops. .dev. And I actually wrote about this on Hashnode. So if you want to go through, this, if you prefer to go through this in text, then I wrote a quick little blog with screenshots and everything. So you can reference this after the stream if you want. But yeah, I did want to give a shout out to Pahud. He is like he's awesome. He does a lot of work with CDK, um, and had this idea, or I found like his GitHub repo of him developing or building this dev environment in Codespaces, and I was like, that's awesome. So I wanted to try to recreate that, but I did mine a little different. But yeah, anyways, so shout out to Pahud for that one. Um, and then, of course, connect with me on Twitter and LinkedIn and GitHub, whatever. That'd be cool. Last thing is, always got to have the coffee. So um, I included cloud code and coffee now. I don't know if anyone notices that. So um, it's not just around cloud and coffee. We are now doing code too. So big change. So, anyways, this is the. I'll zoom in here. You can see that. But yeah, this is essentially the repository that I've created for my dev tools. Um, and so I think what I'll do today is I think I'm just gonna like create from scratch and just go through the process of setting this up, and then I'll just delete it later. But this will probably be where you want to go to see the end result, so to speak. So alrighty, so let's jump into it. So yeah, if I go ahead and let's create a new repository, and I'll just call this like dev tools dash stream, and we can just initialize this with the README. So I think right away we'll sort of dive right into it, right? And you'll notice up here in the middle it says Codespaces, and I think that this is still in beta, right? And I think you still have to. Let me just open this in a new tab. Okay, so that just shows you your current Codespaces. So Google it real quick. So yeah, I mean that right away they're sort of marketing around this is that it's an instant dev environment, and um, you can kind of see their screenshots here, but essentially it's VS Code right in the browser, and that's just, I mean, super powerful. I use VS Code on my local machine, and I love it. So there's a button there that you can request early access, and they were pretty quick about getting back to me for early access. So I wonder if they're still pushing it out now. One thing that I should mention is that they are eventually going to be charging uh, for using the service or the feature for Codespaces. Um, but I think that like the cost is so minor that um, even when you're running it, it's not expensive. But it has that auto turn off or auto stop feature as well. So you know. So anyways, so yeah, if you just click request early access, you can sign up for it. And hopefully get hooked up with it. But so once you've like gained access to the beta, you can actually, once you've and then once you've created a new repository, you can actually hit the code button here, and then now you have the option to open with Codespaces. And then you can click this button, and there's another button here for new Codespaces. Now, let's go ahead and spin this up. So this uses like their default container in Codespaces to like with the defaults like built into it. So there's not a lot to it, and that's why I sort of had this idea to um, build it with my own custom container with all the tools that I personally wanted. Um, so we'll go through and see like what it comes with by default, which is not bad, by the way. It's still has a lot of interesting um, interesting like tools and stuff. Wow, I think I just got my first comment here on Twitch, but it appears to be some bot or something. Want to become famous by followers, primes, and viewers on. Ooh, don't actually. Yeah, I'm gonna hide that. Don't go there. But hey, first comment, I'll take it. It's all good. All right. Anyways, let's see here. Can I zoom in? This is gonna be bad if I can't zoom in. Well, anyways, so this is like this is our blank repository within Codespaces, and you can see like it is very similar to VS Code, right? So if I open up VS Code, obviously I think I have a different theme, but and all my plugins and stuff, but it is identical. You get all your extensions and everything within your code space. So I think you can even search for uh, search for like I've actually already installed a few extensions here. The Docker one as well. I don't know if this one comes by default because but anyways, and then you have a terminal here with I think this is a nice little uh, ZSH theme or something like that. But anyways, okay, so let's go here. All right. So the first thing that you need, or the first thing that we need here is to create a. You even highlighted the message. I know that was a bad idea. But hey, gotta look at. Oh wait, I gotta show off Alexer. I'm gonna go with Alex. But Alex called me out for showing the spam comment. Whoops. Yeah, probably shouldn't have highlighted that. That was a bad idea. So if you get a virus or anything from bigfollows.com, my bad. That's on me. So all right. Anyways, what we want to do first is to create our custom container that we'll use as a template for other code spaces that we use in the future, right? In that Docker container, we'll have all of our tools built into it, so that when we spin up, additional code spaces like this, right, we'll have like tools like Terraform already installed. Which, if you use this default one and you type in Terraform, it's not there, right? And I can zoom in. Maybe that's a little bit better. So like the goal, right, is that we'll open up we'll have this like consistent development environment with all the tools already installed by default, rather than me trying to spin up a new code space every time and have to go through that constant uh, like constant workflow of remembering or running a script that has all the tools that I need, right? And so first we'll just start with creating a Docker file. And I don't know if this is like the right way to do it or not, but um, I ended up finding well, I'm a Mac user, obviously, and I use Homebrew on my Mac for all of my tools on my local machine, right? And I had read about Linux Brew, and uh, and it's almost identical. I think there's like minor differences, like you can't install the casks in Linux Brew like you can with Mac or with Homebrew. um, but it sort of serves its purpose for like what I need, right, to get all of these tools installed into my container, which I'll use to uh, with my code spaces. So I just started with like from Linux Brew. And you can see already, like we're getting the code completion or the extension IntelliSense from Docker in the browser, which is pretty pretty cool. So the first thing that I ran is sudo apt get update or upgrade. It's an old container image, this Linux brew. Even the latest is like a couple years old, so it's always good to upgrade right at the start. And then you know what? I'm just gonna run the whole copy pasta, so I don't spend a whole lot of time on this. Um, and then next is we need to run an update. Um, and then I installed JQ, and you'll see what this is for later once I log into AWS SSO. And then I noticed I had to like run this command for the Linux brew. It sort of like updates itself, I think. And yeah, it was in the documentation for the Docker image on Docker Hub. And then next is just running the simple Brook install commands, and sort of just trying to picture which ones I need. So it uses ZSH here on the terminal, but I prefer Starship. If you've never heard of that, it's a really fast like command prompt. I really like it. Of course, Docker the AWS CLI, Pulumi. I like to work with Pulumi, Terraform, Node, um, and CDK8s, which I'm in the future going to go through as well. Ruby as well, and then next, just gonna install. Install the CDK, which is required to run through npm, right? And then Terraspace, which is like another like Terraform framework. I thought that was, or I want to start using that as well. And then finally, and I don't, this might come out eventually, like might get rid of this, because I just saw this morning that in the latest CDK version, there's a way to like authenticate yourself. So, or I mean, like there's a, it's like built into the CDK CLI now or something like that, but I still need to figure that out. All right. So that is pretty much the Docker file. That's like all the tools that I want in my Codespaces, right? And then now we need a way to push this image up to Docker Hub. And in order to do that on a consistent basis, I wanted to use GitHub Actions. And GitHub Actions is, let's see here. GitHub Actions is a way to automate your workflow. You can think of it as like a CI/CD, and if anyone is familiar with like Jenkins or GitLab CI, it's very similar in that it's like you write, this declarative like template of how you want to build and test and deploy basically your code from your repository and then to wherever it needs to go. And so in this situation, the idea is that we'll, build this Docker image and then push it to Docker Hub using GitHub Actions, right? So the entry point for GitHub Actions is it uses a directory in the root directory. We just need to create a folder called GitHub, and then there's another subfolder in this called Workflows. And then now we can actually create our YAML file in Workflows to say Docker image YAML. Right. And so that leaves us with a blank little YAML file here. And now we sort of just follow like this syntax of creating a GitHub action, right? So again, I'm just gonna sort of copy and paste here, but that way you don't see me type in a bunch. But basically, you start out with a name, right? We give this this workflow a name, and you'll see this in the UI later. But The next step here is where this is kind of like the trigger, I believe, like on like you can specify a schedule, and this is all in the documentation as well, right? But I decided to choose a schedule here, and that says like at 000 on Sunday, um, you know, expressed with this cron expression. That's when it sort of runs or builds and publishes the Docker image to Docker Hub. And then you'll see that in this next part here, where we specify the job. Right. And so again, we're just giving this job a name, call it Docker Hub. Runs on, and you specify the image that it runs on, the Docker image it runs on. And then you just kind of give it some steps, right, of like general best practices of getting the SHA, um, checking out the repo, goes through the Docker build X setup. Then we actually log in to Docker Hub, and we'll set up our secrets here in a minute, but uses the GitHub secrets and these particular uh, variables. Sorry. And then finally, it will build and push that image to Docker Hub. Okay. In my repo, I actually have the GitHub Container Registry as well, but I think for this, I'm just going to stick to Docker Hub only. So, all right. So we got that, right? And let's see here. What else? Oh, yeah. And let me add the refresh creds really quick. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to leave that out. Let's get rid of that for now. Makes it less crowded. All right. And then finally, let's see here. Okay, we'll start with that actually. All right. So let me go back to let's go back into the repo. Dev tools stream. Okay. And then from the settings tab here, yeah, this is actually another part here. So I wanted to add this as a template, right? So you can just check this box here, and it makes it a template so that every additional repo that you create it'll show up as a drop down for a template that you can reuse later. So when you create a new one, it'll use this as a template. All right. And then on the same settings tab on the left here, there's actually a secrets option. This is pretty self-explanatory, I think, but essentially you just create like key value secrets, right? And here we're basically defining the values of those secrets that we put into the GitHub actions. So Docker Hub username was one of them, which is just So then it just saves, your secrets here. And then GitHub Actions can, since it's in the same repo, it can just sort of pick up that secret because it already has permissions to it. So the other one is get Docker Hub token, which I'm not going to share with everybody, even though it looks like there's only one spammer still creeping on me. But yeah, let's see here. Can I grab the secret from? That's cool. So, you're still there. Never mind. Sorry, Alex. My bad. I thought you were the other guy. I thought you were this guy here. My bad. All right. So let's see. For the Docker Hub token, what's interesting is once you set the Docker Hub, or once you set a secret in GitHub, it you can't you can only update it. So I think it versions it, but you can't actually see the value of that secret once it's been set. So I need to go over to my Docker Hub and create a new access token. But that's pretty quick. So all right. Cool. So now that is set, so we have the secrets that's required in the GitHub Actions, right? And if I go back into here, we need to commit and push these changes to our repo, right? And again, this is where having VS Code in your browser is really powerful because it already has this Git extension installed. It's sort of already tracking your changes, and it's just a simple workflow to commit and push your changes to the same repo that you've opened this development environment with, right? So what I do, I just you can use the terminal or CLI to do this as well, but it's pretty easy to just run a couple clicks and say initial commit, of course. And then finally, once you've committed those changes, then you can just click this button down here at the bottom, and it will say this action will push and pull commits to origin main, right? And if you click OK, it should push those changes to our repo, which we should see over here. And there you go. Right. So now we have our Docker file and our GitHub action in this repo. But if you remember, we only set the GitHub action schedule to run every Sunday. But obviously, for demo's sake, we want to actually trigger this right now. So if you head over to this actions tab and then you select the workflow that we just committed to the repo, it should show up here as published Docker image. The name of the workflow that we gave it in that the YAML file, right? And then to manually trigger the workflow, there's a button over here called Run Workflow. and there's a drop down, and basically you can select a branch, but we only have main, so we'll just run workflow from here. And then let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, just took a minute to update. But you can see now it's starting to, it has queued a job. And if you click on this Docker Hub, this is the job, right? You can start to see it build out automatically for us, right? And it goes through all those steps that we specified in the GitHub Actions step. So here it is setting up the buildx. It logs in, so you can see it logging into Docker Hub for us. Now it's building and pushing that image. And so running through those different steps of our Docker file to build the image. And then eventually we'll see that show up in the, I can actually log over here to Docker Hub. So this is my previous version of it, but because it hasn't finished building yet. Okay, but while that's building, what we could do now is specify the dev container file, right? And this is like the part where, let's see, this is the part where Codespaces knows how to use our custom container to spin up the dev environment with our custom container, right? And there's a couple of ways to do this, and I'm not sure if this is like the preferred way yet, but essentially it's kind of the same as this this .github file. It kind of like points GitHub to know where the GitHub action workflow is located, right? But for Codespaces, it requires this file called dev-container.json. And so far, I've just been putting this in the root folder, although you can create a folder in the root directory similar to GitHub, but you can also just specify a file. However, when you use the root folder for this file, you have to put .dev container.json like that, right? And then it's just a few lines after that. So I'm just gonna copy from the other repo here, but it's kind of similar in that you give it a name, and then you just specify the image, and then again, like this is also customizable as well, but you can add extension, VS Code extensions through here, and it's just key value. So this one is just the ESLint one. Since I've been using like the CDK, the AWS CDK with TypeScript a lot, one helps. But yeah, so here you can see this is the container, but this is the previous image. So we want actually, what did we call this? Should show up here, unless this failed, of course. It's still running. I think I called it. Oh, it'll be the name of the repository. So DevTools-stream. Right. Okay. And then, yeah, another thing I like about the online VS Code or Code Spaces is they have this like auto save feature, um, so you don't have to actually hit like Control Save all the time. It saves it for you, which is kind of nice. Um, okay, so we'll just commit this dev container file to our repo as well. Alrighty. This thing's still pushing. Wow. 6 minutes into it, and yikes. I did notice that, well, that's pull rate limits. Not, we're trying to push it to. So anyways, I mean, I guess I could just, well, no, we want to see this thing through. I was gonna say I could just spin up a new container with, yeah, let's do that because I don't know how long that's gonna take. We'll just use my other container image, right? All right, cool. So now what happens is, let's go back over to here. Cool. So now if I wanted to add, or let's say I have a new project and, I want to use this dev environment, all you have to do is create a new repo. And then instead of trying to go through all those steps that I just did, we can now just select this template, right? This dev tools stream template. And then we just give it a new name of our repo. So like streaming, right? And let's see. Yeah, we just hit create repository again. Right, and same workflow. So now all I have to do is hit open with Codespaces. I'll say new code space. Oh, I can trash that one. I guess you only get, oh, beta. That was interesting. See, in the beta you only get 2 code spaces. That's probably good to know. But anyways, yeah. So it's gonna go through the same setup, but now instead of using their default container for code spaces, it's gonna use our custom container. I wonder. I'm wondering if in the paid version of Codespaces, how many code space like environments that you get. That'd be interesting to find out. Because that now I'm rethinking it because because if you could only have like a handful open, well, I guess that's the point of it, right? You spin them up to do whatever you need it is to do, and then you just get rid of it, right? And you'd only spin them up when you need it. I guess that's the point. But yeah, I mean, this is so far I really enjoyed this workflow. Because like I said, all you need is an internet connection and a web browser now, and rather than having like a big beefy workspace or machine that I've ran into a few issues recently on my MacBook here, and it's just got like weighed down quite a bit, and finally I was just like, what else is out there? And um, it seems pretty nice to just be able to spin up these dev environments pretty quickly with everything that I need. This is kind of taking a minute. It's really letting me down here. I wonder if it's still trying to get rid of my old code space though. Let's try to. And this thing is still hung up. I wonder if GitHub's okay right now. um, Come on. I'm doing it live, This is never fails. Never fails. Maybe while we're waiting, I should go check out bigfollows.com and see if I can buy followers and primes and viewers. I don't know. Looks a little fishy though. Don't do it. Alex says, don't do it. All right. That's good advice. Good advice. Wow, this is really letting me down. Gotta love going live, right? Let's see here. Why did it do that? Let's try to let's see if we can kill this guy. So that's our dev. That's where we built it, right? All right, let's try this one more time here. See if this works. Maybe I've already like hit my limit on using Codespaces in the beta. They're just like, GitHub's probably like, this guy cannot use Codespaces anymore. He's again, it is a new service. So maybe I'm just maxing it out. So this is awkward. So, all right. Well, anyways, while that's going, let me see if I missed anything. But yeah, again, like everything's here in this blog post that I sort of went through today. And yeah, I mean, AWS Cloud9 is also similar. But yeah, I think that's probably where I was gonna stop, anyways. I was kind of hoping to get this spun up, but in the next stream, if this works, I was gonna go through using the tools within Codespaces to create some like CDK apps. There's this really cool project called Progen. Progen. And if you're familiar with the CDK, this is like supposed to be like this great way of scaffolding an entire project for you for like CDK apps and stuff. I've heard a lot of buzz around it about how great it is, and you know how it's going to be. This is also still really early days, but how it should be like the standard workflow for building out CDK apps and stuff. So I'm interested in it. I don't know. I don't really know what it does yet. So I'm hoping to sort of dive into this, and well, here's the features, as I said that. Yeah. So anyways, okay, so Progen takes a batteries included approach and aims to offer dozens of different project types out of the box. Okay. Yeah, so it looks pretty interesting. Might try to go through that. One last check. Damn. Yeah, I think I broke GitHub. I'm pretty sure I broke GitHub because this is not pushing and I cannot initialize a code space. So sorry to everyone out there that I broke GitHub. My bad. Hopefully, it'll come back up soon. Hashtag HugOps. Anyways, thanks for joining. Don't go to bigfollows.com, Alex. I know you want to go to bigfollows.com, but don't do it. Thanks for joining in, and that was fun, man. So, or I don't know if you. Anyways, yeah, have a good one. Thanks.